Welcome everyone to our educational webinar from TCN. We appreciate you joining us today. Uh, Once again, we've got another installment of our webinar to teach you about some of our latest features, some of our compliance tools. Here at TCN, we are working tirelessly to provide the very best in call center technology. We are releasing features as fast as we can get to them, dealing with any requests from the customers that they're looking for, and also monitoring the market to see what is needed out there to give you the best possible tools to be as effective as possible as a call center. Today we're going to focus on a couple new features that we've released, and we're also going to do a little bit of a review of our webinar that we did last week. There's been a lot of questions and concerns that continue to come up in regards to some of the latest information with the TCPA rules. We will continue to focus on these things each month and work on providing you what we can to help you in your compliance needs. Today, our main focus is going to be touching on Q Callback, a new feature that we just released that's going to enhance your ability to address clients as they call in if they experience any sort of a hold time, and give them the ability to actually hang up the call and keep their place in line and be able to be automatically called back to when an agent is available. We'll also be talking about one of our latest compliance tools we released that enhances our call recording pause to give you an automated approach with that tool. And so we'll be going into that. As last week, our feature that we talked about, we were talking about the big FCC and their regulations that they put out in regards to compliance. And TCN, what we've done, in 2013, we released a manually only platform that really addresses some of the concerns that have come up. The main thing being the capacity of that dialer, whether it has potential capacity to be an auto dial. And so we released this completely separate system. You have to actually open up your own account, a separate account from your existing client account with TCN on a manually only platform, and it has various tools to help you in your compliance and help you in your efficiencies. And we'll review over that again today as a lot of questions have come up. The main issue comes into the human intervention and the capacity of the tools, and whether your current existing system has those capacities and how you handle that in compliance. Once again, I also have to kind of bring up the fact that we can't give legal advice from TCN. We do encourage you to seek your own legal advice to make sure that any of the tools and features that you utilize meets your criteria according to your legal counsel, but we do our very best to provide you with what we can so that we can answer the questions that you have. Today we have Taylor Checketts, who is one of our executive account representatives. He's going to be going over some of these new features, demonstrating all of these tools that we have, and then of course we'll be taking any questions that you might have at the end using the same format that we've done before. You can email me at bryce.payne@tcnp3 anytime during the presentation, and we'll try to answer those questions at the end of the presentation. So with nothing further ado, let's go ahead and move into Taylor and turn the time over to Taylor to show you some of the latest features.
Okay, thank you for the introduction, Bryce. So as Bryce had mentioned, the first feature that we're going to demonstrate today is the Q callbacks. So what I'm going to show you to begin with is on the management side, how you will set that up. It's one of these things that it does require some knowledge of how it needs to be set up. So if after this demo you want to actually get it set up, it would be probably best to reach out to our customer support team, and they'd be happy to assist you and help you set this up on your inbound IVRs. So what I have done is I've come here to the Agents tab, and I've gone to the Call Queue Configuration Manager. This is where you can configure multiple queues on your account, and you can set up different queues for almost every IVR on your account. So if you have multiple inbound lines, you can have different queues that do different things. But today we're going to be demonstrating what I've named here the queue callback. So if you create this queue on your account, edit button, it'll bring you into a bunch of settings. Let me zoom out a little bit here. There's a tab up here, call type inbound. So we're going to be modifying the inbound queue. So what I'm going to do is scroll down here towards the bottom, and you have these in-queue key press events. So what this is meaning is when your customer calls into your inbound line, there's no agent available, they're then put on hold, they're hearing hold music, and then you can program in specific key settings that if pressed while in queue can trigger certain events. So for this demo, I have done the key press 1. So if the customer is in queue and they press the key, it will initiate the queued callback. So that's the only step that you need to enable here, and you hit save. And then the second step that you need to do is manage a sound file. So you need to be able to play a message during that queue that tells that customer that they can use the queue callback feature. So what I have done is you click on the speaker icon and it brings up every audio file that can be used in your queue settings. So you have to come in here and you can modify a couple different audio files to be able to accomplish the queue callback feature. The one I am using is the announce position shortly. So what I've done is I've actually come in here and I've recorded my own new message. And what that message says is simply something that says, we are sorry for the extended wait. Please hold on the line. Or sorry, we are sorry. Let me take a step back there. It just says, sorry, no agents are available to assist you at this time. If you would like for your position in line to be saved, press the 1 key now, and we will return your call as soon as a rep is available. So that message will be played while in queue by using this message, and as soon as that person hears that message and they press the key 1, as I showed you I programmed in, then it'll automatically terminate that call with the IVR, but it'll program the call back for the agent. So I'm going to go ahead and close this out. And like I mentioned, this is something, if you want to utilize this feature, it's probably best to reach out to customer support and tell them how you'd like to use it, and they can provide assistance setting it up in the best way. So I'm going to jump over to the agent side here, and I'm going to first put my agent on pause. So I'm the only agent in the system, therefore if an inbound call comes in, it'll automatically be placed into the queue. So I'm going to dial into my inbound number. Give it just a second here. And then you'll see an indicator up here. As soon as I hit the queue, I'm now placed on hold. The agent can see that there's a call on hold, and then me as the customer, as I've called in, I just barely heard the message that I stated before that told me to press the 1 to save my position in line and to be called back as soon as possible. So I'm going to press 1 right now. So as the consumer, I pressed 1 on my phone. You can see now there are no calls on hold anymore. That customer has left the queue. And if the agent becomes available, I click resume, the agent will automatically get a pop-up that says on call, and then you can see it's calling back that customer. So as soon as the customer answers, then your agent will be able to assist that customer. So it's just a quick turnaround, easy setup. Okay. So that is the queue callback feature. Like say, it's one of those things you might want assistance setting it up. Once it's set up, it's very beneficial. It definitely increases customer satisfaction, so they don't have to wait on hold for as long. And so I'm going to go ahead and now demonstrate some of the more compliance features, as Bryce had mentioned, the second thing on our list, which is the ability for automatic pause call recording as well as manual pause call recording. So the way I'm going to do that is I'm just going to initiate a manual dial real quick to myself. Okay, and as you can see, when the agent is on a call, we have this tape deck up here that's red, and it means that it's recording the call. Now, we have two pause features on this. We have the first one, which this one down here that I'm hovering over, allows the agent to pause call recording. And the reason why they'd be doing this is they'd want to pause the call recording when they got to an area where they're collecting sensitive information, such as a credit card. So you can give your agent this button here that allows them to pause the call recording, and then once they've collected that sensitive information, they can resume the call recording. So that's one of the pause features we have. So we also have the other blue button next to this one. So we can eliminate this first one if you don't like that feature, and we can go with this pause button, which this one does is you can program in a delay. We call this our recording delay button. And what happens is the agent would get to that part where they're collecting the sensitive data, they would press the recording delay option, and you can see it's sort of counting down time here. So you would program in, say, 10, 20 seconds, whatever it may be. As soon as that time expires, the call recording resumes, as you see just there. So those are two of our features to be able to, for an agent to be able to manually pause call recording to remain in PCI compliance. Then the second option is more of an automatic way to pause call recording. And this is used more of in a script environment. So for instance, if I was on this call and I was reading through my script with the customer, and I got to the part where it says, okay, if they agreed to make a payment or if they were to buy something from you and you needed to collect payment information, I have this set up just where I say, okay, yes, I'm ready to move on to payment arrangements. And then I click the navigation arrow down here. That brings me to my next part of the script. And as you might have noticed, right as I came to the second page of the script, my call recording is now paused. So let me go ahead and go back real quick. Go back and you can see my call recording has resumed. So if I go forward one more time and I'm back to the credit card or the payment information page, my call recording is automatically paused. So once you've gone through each of these questions or whatever you have set up on this side of your responses and your scripts, then they move on to the last part of their script. Call recording automatically resumes again. So this is one of the automatic features that helps you remain in PCI compliance. Okay. So that covers the two first features, queue callback as well as the pause call recording, both automatic and manual. And now, as Bryce mentioned, we're going to go over some of the manual features that we did on the last webinar. So the first one being the manually approved calling. So what this is I've queued up a campaign on my management side. I've uploaded a list. I have the people I want to call for the day on my manual dials. And what I'm doing is I'm giving one agent or multiple agents the ability to approve calls for dialing. And what they'll do is they'll have this blue button with the check arrow down here at the bottom. So for instance, my agent Taylor is my approval agent, so he has this button down here. When I click this button, it's previewing me the account information of who I'm about to call. And then I have a few options down here. I have approve, reject, or close. So if I go ahead and approve this call, you'll see that when I do that, it's sending the call in to be dialed. So you're approving the dial of this call. And then in a hypothetical situation, you would have more agents on your floor waiting for calls. So as soon as this call goes out and is answered, it's automatically delivered to one of those agents that is in a ready state. So as you can see, when I click approve here, that my account is automatically going to change to another account. Oh, it must have closed out. But so I clicked approve. Now the call is out. It's being dialed. And as soon as that call is answered, it will be previewed, or it'll pop up to an available agent, and they'll be able to assist that person. So give me just a second here, and I'm going to actually show you also our other feature, our preview dialing, which I'm sure many clients are already using this, but it's also something we wanted to demonstrate today. Okay, so as you can see, my agent's status has gone from a waiting call now to preview call. This is what we call our preview dialing feature. So this is a little bit different than manually approved, where manually approved you have one single agent or multiple agents sending calls to agents in the waiting status. And then this is where it's more of a one-on-one situation where an agent is receiving a preview of a call, and they have two options down here. They can place the call manually, or they can click Don't Call on this account. So if they were to place the call, it would automatically go in to on call, and that single agent there would handle that call from start to finish. So those are the two features that we have for the manual approval, or on the manual account that assists you in making your manual dials much more effective. So that's everything I have to show you today. We'll go back to Bryce now.
Okay, thanks, Taylor. We have a couple questions that have come up so far. Just to cover those right now. First question is, on manual, are you able to tie that into the inbound blended environment just like the predictive? Shared do not call list between platforms possible?
Yeah, so that is a very common question that comes up. And if you are using two TCN accounts, so if you are doing your predictive dialing and you're doing all that on one account, and you also want to do your manual dialing, your inbound lines can only be on one account. So you have a couple of options there. You can separate your staff, where you're sending some of your staff over to do manual dials at a certain period or certain time of day, and you're leaving some of your other staff on the predictive account to handle the inbound calls as they come through. And then the second part of that question, the do not call list. That is something that you will have to manage on a daily basis for both accounts. So if it's put on one account, then you just export that DNC list and import it to the other account, and vice versa. You can keep those both managed very easily.
Okay, Taylor, thank you. Next question is, will queue callback, will that work in the manual environment?
Yes. If you're facilitating most of your business onto the manual account itself and you have your inbound IVRs on that account, then yes, you can run the queue callback through your manual account as well.
Okay, next question is, how do I know whether the tools that I'm using are compliant with the TCPA rules?
Okay, and as mentioned with what Bryce said at the beginning, we cannot provide legal counsel. However, this is something that you can have your attorneys look over. We do have a manual, when you sign up for the manual account, we do have on our TCN agreements that you are signing up for a manual account, and it gives you a brief description of each feature that you have the ability to use on that account, and you can deem whether that is compliant in your business environment for your own company.
Next question is how long are the recordings stored on your system?
The recordings are stored for 45 days on our system, and then we also provide alternative options too. So if you like an extended recording storage, we actually do provide extended storage, which we will store them on TCN for a longer period of time. And you can purchase that through your sales agent. They can give you a quote on how much that would cost. So if you just want to reach out to them, they can give you figures of how long, or for extended storage, what the price for that would be. And then the second option is what we would do is we'd set up automated report jobs to send recordings to your own storage sites. So if you have an FTP account or an SFTP account, we would send the recordings to you daily at the end of each day or week, however you would like to receive them.
Okay, thank you, Taylor. Next question is are there additional costs with setting up a manual system?
No, there are no additional costs for setting up the manual system. All of your pricing and everything remains the same as if you already have a full environment with the predictive dialing, your pricing would remain the same as that exact environment.
Are there additional costs for the agents per seat or anything like that?
No.
Okay, that addresses the questions that we received today. If you have any other additional questions, you can email me and we'll go ahead and have someone reach out to you to answer those questions. Just to kind of give you an idea of some of the things that will be coming out in the near future, we are working on a compliance suite that will be coming out in a couple months that addresses a lot of details. We've just kind of gone through every single aspect that we can think of different requests we received and different needs that are out there to help you in being able to address the various rules state by state, and be able to address those in a more granular manner. And so you'll be pretty excited to see what we're coming out with. We'll be announcing that here in the future. And as usual, as we come out with each feature, we'll have a webinar and be able to go over training and answer questions. The next one we're really excited about is the business intelligence tool. I think you're going to find this to be just an incredible, amazing additional tool to what we've provided in the ability to be able to really get in to know what's going on with your agents, with your calls, and being able to generate real-time reports that normally would take hours and hours and hours of time of manipulating Excel spreadsheets, being able to do it with just a few clicks of a button, and that information will be incredibly powerful to help you become efficient in your call center. We'll also be, along with that, be offering some efficiency consulting, looking at how to look at them, what numbers to look at, how to interpret those numbers, and how to apply those to your call center. Also, disconnected agent is another feature we'll be coming up with here soon. These are things that are in the process and just in the final stages, and will be coming out over the next few months throughout the year. So we're really excited about a lot of features that we have. Next month, our webinar will be focusing specifically on the business intelligence tool. We'll completely focus on demos and instructions on how that can be utilized and exactly how that can be incorporated in as part of the TCN tool. So we'll be pretty excited to be able to show you that, and we look forward to you joining us next month as well. Please let us know if there's any questions you have, if there's any features that maybe you need to have in your system and may not have seen in the list that I've talked about, and there's other features you're wanting to see. Reach out to us and we'll see what we can do to be able to get those things added into these pushes, as we've been on a very, very advanced process this year to push out as many features as we can to meet the needs of the environment. We appreciate you joining us today, and we look forward to talking to you next month, and thank you for joining us.